People tweeted in questions and various things, so I just want to do a very quick fire around the table of various questions. A general one, Mark Stallard has asked the best and worst quality as a coach, all of you. Your best and worst quality, Steve?
Best and worst? Oh, God. Best enthusiasm, worst patience.
Keith, from your point of view?
Again, you have to accept you're going to have good days and bad days when you're in professional sport. And it's how you deal with the bad days as well as the good days.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Andreas?
I would say best passion, and I have to agree with Steve, patience is mine as well.
The two impatient.
So, yeah.
Patience not your virtue.
Yeah.
Andy?
My worst is I hate losing and don't understand it and don't cope with it very well. And probably best is just my honesty.
Sean?
Yeah, I agree with that. He's right. No, I always remember where I've come from. So I remind myself to have a level of humility. That's probably something I tell myself. My worst is I probably use too much bad language. If I'm honest.
Fair enough.
I could have picked anyone of you two on there as well. Any one of those, you know, losing, bad language, honesty, I could have chucked them in as well.
We're just asking for one of you. Right, we'll rotate back round the other way this time. So I'll start with you, Sean, so it gives you more thinking time. I'm being fair on this. Oliver Godion asked lots of different questions, but one of them is there scope to offer our better young players longer contracts to avoid them being snaffled by the Prem teams?
Yes, there is. If they're good enough, if they have the minerals and the potential, work ethic, it's difficult seeing all of that so early. But yeah, if they're good enough, they're old enough.
Andy, you concur? Or?
I concur what Sean's saying. It's difficult to judge an 18, 19-year-old playing in sort of a physical game, whether they can cope with the physicality of the game. But I believe tying players into 2-year contracts is the right way to go, and then extending that contract a year out.
Right. Andreas?
Our ethos is about developing young players. Our captain Greg Street has come through our junior program all the way to being the playing in the BBL. So it's been a 9-year journey for him basically. So for me, it's about looking for the next Greg Street. So if the right opportunities are there, kind of thing, and the player deserves it, yes, we'll be more than happy to commit to it. Yeah.
Keith, your specialty?
Our EPP2 that we're in with the academy, it does stipulate how long you can actually give scholarships and then when you want to offer pro forms. But where we've been most successful this season is tying 3 of our better youngsters down. Never talking about money with Bobby Reid, Wes Burns and Joe Bryant. So we have got rules in place now with the academy as it is.
That's one thing we are ahead of rugby on, obviously, because we got rules for that one, if you know what I mean, where they're, and that I won't be saying that very often, where we're ahead of rugby, but we have a rule there, and it doesn't matter what you do. If somebody wants your kids, they'll nick them. There's a rule there in place to guard you against it, but if the answer to that question is for all of us to get to play Premier League, whatever it is, and then you get to keep them. Yeah. No one else can nick them. That's the obvious answer to that one.
Tim Pettiford and a few others asked, how easy is it to wind down after a game?
I don't.
How long does it take?
Well, it can be with me until if something don't go right on a Saturday, it'll be with me at least till after Monday's session, Monday morning's meeting, and the training session, because you need to get back with the lads, you need to get it out of your system. You have to get it out of your system a little bit quicker if you have a midweek game. But no, I mean, when I said about patience, losing, all of that, I think what you do is you really take it on board. When you're the main man who picks the team and does the tactics, I think it hits you harder. And I don't mean it's just disrespectful to any assistant or coach or whatever. I think until you're the man actually in the seat, it doesn't quite hit you. It doesn't quite hit them as hard as it will hit you. So it can stay with you for a good couple of days for me.
Keith,
I agree with Steve. I don't think you ever really switch off. You don't get over it too much. We spoke about it yesterday after Peterborough game. We got home, and then I watched the game, and I was still watching it 3:30 in the morning. And I think we all do that. I think it's something we can't just switch off. It's impossible.
Andreas?
It's extremely difficult. My fiance has a lot of patience for me. So, even when we win games, sometimes, I'm already kind of thinking about the next one kind of thing. So, and definitely when we lose a game kind of thing, then, you kind of sit there and try to analyze and find why has happened and, how can you change that? And, is it something you could have control? Is it something you could do tactically? Is it something technically you need to do better in practice? So it's the challenge. I think it's a coaching challenge and a manager's challenge. There's no question.
We're all involved in the sport because we're passionate about sport and we love it. And we love watching our team and how our team plays. And we love analysing that because the way your team plays reflects on you as coaches. Yeah, and that's players. We make the players understand that that's their performance is what we're about. And therefore, if you perform well, you can have that confidence, but then you want to analyse it and think how you're going to perform well the following week. If you perform badly, then that's you.
Yeah.
And you've had a bad day, and it's how you get over that. The only time to get over that is by performing well the following week.
We get 4 weeks off in June in the year, and my wife tells me it takes me to the 3rd week in June to come down, and then we're back in work on the 1st of July, so that's it. There's mine. And it's like that. It is like that.
That's you're getting over it. Loads of questions asking about the January transfer window and various players and plans, but I'm sure you're not going to...
Can we have one?
Go for it.
Mr. Lansdowne, can we have a transfer window in January?
It's funny because I read somewhere today that, we're splashing out in the January transfer window and we've got funds to spend and Steve's backing me. And I thought, I wonder what he'd thought if he was reading this. Because we haven't spoke about anything to spend. The only thing that got talked about the other week is we're well within our budget. We're well within our budget because I know we haven't spent it this year. So I'm not quite sure what we would save up there will be a difference maker.
I think the windows are great for the fans. They're fantastic for Sky. Everyone wears yellow on the night, as we all know. I think we never stop talking. Our windows don't ever close in conversations, as I'm sure the rugby lads don't. We're continually doing that. What you've got to be careful of when they keep opening windows and closing windows, you don't jump in the window if there's no need to jump in the window.
Or jump out of it.
We don't want anyone jumping out of any windows,
difficult one.
especially not tonight.
When you sign a player, he comes and joins you. We sign a player and he doesn't join us for another 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And that player might be injured by the
And it
time we
doesn't
sign
tend to be
him.
publicly spoken about either. It's done within the
No,
club.
exactly.
I would say
so that's where we find it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Is that actually when you sign somebody, you want to sign them now and for them to join you. And that's something we've been talking to Steve Lansdowne about, the understanding of that. Because so it becomes a little bit harder. So you have to look at your medicals. You have to watch them and how they're playing for their club once you sign them and have a rapport with them then.
Looking for British talent, really. That's kind of what we're about. It's not about just bringing players from outside. It's about, British talent, local talent. So I think for us that's big.
Right, last question to you all that was a common thread as well. Best moment, managerial moment, if you like, within your respective clubs. Sean?
Within the
highlight
clubs?
so far with Bristol Rugby.
Wow. I think at the moment, for me, it was the winning try against Worcester at Ashton Gate, because in that glimpse I could see the potential of Ashton Gate and us starting to realise against the top team.
Andy, you look like you're pondering hard.
That's a really good answer.
You've tried him.
Well, Worcester's been our best guy. I think hearing the support at Ashton Gate. So from not in that first game that we had, but the game subsequent to that, the support that we've had, and so when the side ran out against Connaught, and there were 7,500 people come to watch the game, a British and Irish Cup game, a second team game, and we've got 7,500 people coming. That's where you suddenly realise actually the people of Bristol want this as much as we do.
Good answer, Andreas.
I'm going to go with seeing Greg Street playing the first BBL game and winning that game at the start of the season, because for us it has been a journey to get to where we are, and to see someone like Greg that has come through this program and to be playing as the captain, I think for me that has been very special basically, and winning that first game in the BBL against Plymouth, I think that was a big moment for me and something I'm proud for.
Keith?
And we've had many special moments, touch wood, this season, wonderful goals, wonderful bits and bobs, but I think my best moment has come, and I spoke about it earlier, was the 2 weeks that we spent together having the club back, Steve and I, to go and get 7 players, and how well watching them knit over in Africa and the experience over there was absolutely fantastic. And I think that has been our major factor, as much as anything, to how well we've done this season. So I would say that was my special moment, but it lasted 2 weeks, so I was lucky.
I don't think I have one. I don't think I have one, simply because we've had so many good things. You could go on for a long time. So I think our best one is still to come.
Well, on that note, thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's been a fascinating evening. I hope you've all enjoyed it. And
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
well, Merry Christmas, and let's hope for a very prosperous New Year. Crackers, there you go. You pulled yours earlier.
Yeah, I know.
There we go. Oh, we didn't pop. Andreas, there you go.
You could have put their mats on as well. Two wins.
This is our, why is everyone looking the other side of the camera starving?
Where those treetops listen and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow,